Hey, hello, and thank you for watching. This is video number 11 in my Liberate Your Legacy Sacred Activation series, and you can catch up on the rest of the videos on my YouTube channel, Liberate Your Legacy. I'm Caroline Murray, and I help creative visionaries to unleash their genius so they can create businesses, movements, and bodies of work that impact thousands on the planet. So I always wait for guidance, what to talk about on my videos. And today the guidance was to talk about mental illness, not about mental health, which is something that I've touched on before, but mental illness, because I am coming across a lot more people who are being given a diagnosis of bipolar or depression and anxiety, and I know it's very prevalent in my children's schools as well. They talk about it a lot. But I want to talk about mental illness in a different frame of reference. I've had an interest in mental illness and mental health since I qualified as a social worker over 30 years ago. And I worked in mental health day centres and institutions to support young people with their mental health. And since then, I also went through a period of depression myself, which I used to tap into my own genius, because I felt I didn't want to be on medication. Some people have to be on medication, and I am not medically qualified. I do not get involved in the medication element. But the process that I have doesn't require you to come off your medication, but it will ultimately take you off it. So the thing is, what counts as mentally ill is very much a social and cultural construct. And something I found very interesting when I was doing my training was that the prevalence of mental illness amongst the Afro-Caribbean community in England, which is where I did my training, was massively higher than the population as a whole. And in looking into that, it became clear that it was because the cultural expectations of a white British culture were very different from the cultural expectations within an Afro-Caribbean cultural norm. So behaviours that were considered appropriate within Afro-Caribbean culture were not considered appropriate within white British culture. So I'm asking you to question now if your mental illness is also part of this social and cultural construct. And to also tap into the fact that it's a diagnosis that has come from a medical profession that doesn't really understand what is going on a deeper, more spiritual, deeper level of your psyche and your energetic being. So the medical profession is now inadequately prepared to deal with the mental health issues that are coming forward now. So this system that I use is developed by Lorna Johnson, who herself recovered from bipolar using the system of shadow alchemy. What the majority of systems do in attempting to resolve mental illness is to push to one side the symptoms that are not required, that are not acceptable parts of who you are, and to support you to come into a more acceptable, more, what is known as sane way of being. So the system of, it's called shadow alchemy that I'm using, will actually take you to the heart of darkness, of your symptoms. It takes you there so that you can alchemize what you have in that space. Because by pushing it away, that anything that we attempt to repel will only come back to us with greater force and greater strength. So this is a way of dissolving each and every objection to your genius. And that's what I love about it. It acknowledges totally who you are as a whole being, and connects you with your truth. And that's what I'm all about. I want you to find your genius and to use your mental state, not to say, oh, well, that's no good, we push it to one side and we just go with this socially acceptable mental state. No, I want to use that mental state, use what you have to create something wonderful, something better, something that is in total harmony with who you are and who you are being and who you desire to be. Because this is the disharmony in mental illness, is the dissonance between who you really are and who you are trying to be to fit in the world. So that's all I have time for today. If this has resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. So you can private message me and we'll carry on the conversation. Many blessings. Mwah.